It's the summer of 2005, and my job relocates my family and I from Venezuela to the American Midwest. So after I survived my first winter, it was time to visit my mom back in South America. The trip is everything I hoped for. It's time to return to the States. So I'm in a plane landing in Miami when the captain announces Homeland Security officers are boarding the plane. I didn't think of anything. I handed my passport and work visa. All of the sudden, I'm the only passenger being marched off the plane and escorted into the room. The room, the room is jam-packed and call silent, no phone calls. I don't know what's happening. My husband is waiting for me in Chicago, and I'm about to miss my connecting flight. Where's my luggage? Ay, Diosito, what if I'm deported? I don't want to return to Venezuela. I feel safe here. I love my American life. 10 hours later, I'm handed my passport with a big red stamp, revoked. Because we cannot stay in the US, my husband and I returned to Venezuela. And with the support of my former employed attorneys, I'm trying to get a new visa. So we land in Caracas, we go to the US Embassy for the interview. The diplomatic security officer keeps asking, have you lost your passport? Why were you in China? Who do you know in China? Who's your contact? I've never been to China. I don't have any contacts. Why the questions? Why was I taking off that plane? He finally reveals what happened and tells me that a criminal in China is using my information to smuggle women into the United States. And just like that, the nightmare begins. For the next 6 years of my life, I have to prove that I'm the real me over and over and over, nearly ruining my marriage, my career, and it takes a severe toll on my mental health and well-being. However, it also gave me a newfound perspective. Then I switched my career from IT to cybersecurity. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever had an experience that shifted your career, a relationship, your family, your health, your life? I would like to, who can relate to that? And for those of you that are virtually joining us, I would like to see some comments in the Slack channel. If you relate, type IR, which means I relate. So who can relate to that? Who relates? Because we all have a story. Yes, absolutely. We all have a story and we relate to them. So today I'm super grateful to be here and share with you how to elevate our security awareness programs, harnessing the power of mindfulness. My intention is to share with you what mindfulness has done for me and how it shifted my life in cybersecurity, but also my life personally and in my business. So you could apply this session to your workforce, you can apply it to your cybersecurity teams, or you can apply this to your own personal life. Now, before I start talking about mindfulness, I have a confession. You know, when she was talking about autopilot, I was living on autopilot. That was me with a million tabs open in my browser. I was like that, always thinking about the past, the future. I was like worried about my husband, my family, my health, my career, budget cuts. Oh my goodness, regrets about the past, worries about the future. Who can relate to that, right? Exactly. And in the chat, please, if you relate, IR. And why is that? You know, why is that important? Well, here's the thing. Tessian and Stanford University experts reveal in a report that distractions, stress, and fatigue influence our ability to make sound cybersecurity decisions. And we're all familiar with the DBI report, and today we have been hearing about all the human side and all the things that happen, amazing presentations where we saw how a phishing can happen just by that click. Now, when we are in that state, when we are in that distractive autopilot, which, by the way, I call it full mindness, which is the opposite of mindfulness, right? So when we are in full mindness, if your users are in that state, that's a perfect recipe for the next headline cyber attack on that company. So I love well-being practices, and I love doing meditation, doing yoga, and doing many things. So in the context of this session, I want to share with you some misconceptions about what mindfulness is. And yes, that's me sharing a beautiful moment in anyone from California. So that picture, yes, absolutely, love it. So, oops, sorry, what happened? Okay, let's talk about some myths about mindfulness. Mindfulness, it's not about you becoming the next Zen monk. It's not about you doing a contortionist yoga pose that you can untangle, or it's not about you chanting until you connect to the Wi-Fi frequency. That's not about what mindfulness is. Now, before I continue my conversation about mindfulness, why don't we do an experience? Are you up for an experience? Yes? Okay. So this is a being centered experience. And did you know that Navy SEALs, elite athletes, and a lot of people do centering exercises every single time they are, actually they do it every day. They're gonna be into something, on a mission, on their day. Why is that? Because that is how you can perform at a different level. But there are many different techniques about being centered. One that we will use today, it's called the box breathing technique. Anyone do the box breathing? Oh my goodness, yes. And how about in the chat? Did you do the box breathing? It's super simple. A lot of research about box breathing, and it's basically a box, right? We are going to do this together. So you're just gonna inhale for a count of 4, and don't worry about, I'll do the count. Inhale through your nose. Then we're gonna hold the breath, right? And you are gonna exhale. The way you're gonna do that is through your mouth. Imagine that you're blowing candles, like you don't wanna spit on the cake with the candles, so, right? And then you're gonna hold your breath for 4 seconds. Are you ready? And those of you in the chat, do it together, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blow the candles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it again. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold the breath. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, why we did that exercise is that is what it feels to be in center. When you are not feeling that, when you are not in that state, ask yourself, am I full-minded right now? Am I in that state? And if that's the case, choose to center, to be centered again. Because what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is actually the practice of purposefully being intentional, bringing the full awareness to your present moment, to right now, where you are. And when we do that, amazing things happen, because mindfulness is so much more than just a pragmatic practice. It's actually a differentiator. I believe it's an enabler for Industry 5.0, because you think about, today we have talked so much about the human-centric and how important we are in the industry. And for Industry 5.0, definitely is that connection that needs to happen in the production process. So mindfulness can be the difference in your cybersecurity program. And why is that? Because it could be the difference between clicking blindly or clicking wisely. Because at the end of the day, we are what we click. We saw the example this morning when the keynote was talking about how an attack happened. It needed to be someone to click on that link. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. Wasn't that amazing? Right? Now, let me share with you a true story. It's a Tuesday morning on a deadline day. And Eric is a new appointed head of finance. Eric falls prey for a classic CEO spoofing email. In just one click, he set a chain of events that Eric will do anything to undo if he could. Eric asked himself, why did I click on that link? I mean, I know this. I just finished the cybersecurity training. I even passed the test. Why did I click? What did I miss? Eric was in full minus. Eric missed the red flags. He would just have a cyber mindful moment to pause and realize what was happening. He would have saved that company $1 million and a lot of trouble. Now, you and I know that hackers, scammers, and cyber monsters count. They are counting on crushing people cyber mindfulness. And how they do that? Sense of urgency, they send emails, they evoke the senses, right? They want our users to open the door. And that's where cyber mindfulness can make the difference between a breach or a close call. Now, what are the benefits of cyber mindfulness? Number one, it improves our ability to make decisions. When we are present, we can notice a phishing link. We can notice, oh my God, I don't know that person. That's not right. I'm present. That means I can make better decision making. Number two, it helps retain information. And what does that mean for us? Well, your cybersecurity policies, your processes, your training, they can remember that throughout the day and then can apply it. Cyber mindfulness also reduces stress and frustration. It is well documented how mindfulness helps with burnout, especially burnout in our cybersecurity teams that get so many, how do you call that? So many attempts, and they false positive, and they that over and over, that frustration, that stress can be helped with mindfulness. And lastly, it cultivates personal accountability. What does that mean? It means that your users can own their mistakes and report faster when they see something wrong. And we've seen it in the presentations over and over today, how wonderful it is to have a user community that has our back, because obviously we can multiply the efforts that we in cybersecurity do. Now, I know you're all wondering, okay, Sandra, great, how do we do this? Are you asking that? Yes? Okay, fantastic. There are 3 principles that you can follow to integrate cyber mindfulness, and you can integrate this in your workforce. You can do it in your cybersecurity teams, or you can do it in your own personal life. Number 1, be intentionally cyber. We saw the definition of mindfulness, which is to be purposeful. So intentional. You need to be purposeful with your cybersecurity awareness programs. You need to articulate what is that about in a way that not only you understand it, your team understand it, but your users understand it. That they can, throughout the day, display the behaviors that are aligned with that intentionality on the program. What does that mean? Like, we saw this morning a presentation about how important is our messaging, how important it is for us to be clear, concise, precise, right? Because that's how intentionally they can remember and apply it during the day. Now, let me just give you an example here that you can incorporate. Do you know, is anyone here in manufacturing company, or working in the shop floor? You know, there is a protocol that every single time that you have a meeting, you have to do a safety call, right? Exactly. Yes. Why is that? Because, you know, it's part of the safety. It's ingrained. It's second nature. So why don't we do that? Why don't we have cyber security mindful intention in every meeting that we have? 10 seconds with that to set that intention. I mean, there are so many different ways where we can be intentionally cyber. And at the end of the presentation, you can have a template that we use. It's a questionnaire that you can use, and you can apply it to your teams or to yourself. And it's a very helpful tool. Now, let's move to principle number 2, which is be empowering. I was so excited today with every presentation where that was the messaging. If you remember every single presentation today, it's about how you can make people feel something, engage them, make them feel how good your program is, so they cannot wait to get home to share with their friends, with their communities. So you create content that they love. You create content, and no matter where you are, if you have a very mature program or if you're just starting out, make it simple, make it relatable, make it personal, because we relate to stories, we relate to simple messaging. Now, an example here, it's a global organization doing this year in their cybersecurity awareness month. They are doing an experience for their users. That experience is all about feelings, it's all about well-being, it's all about making the connection with cybersecurity in a different way. They call it Cyber Zen, and I gotta tell you, it's amazing what they are doing. Another example is a nonprofit organization that had nothing to do with cybersecurity, and what they decided to do was train their people in cyber mindfulness, so they can serve their communities better. They can serve them. They can give them in an easy and simple way tips about cybersecurity so they can protect what matters most, which is now our last principle. Be a role model. We need to be role models. And what does that mean, Sandra? It means that whatever behavior you're seeking your users to have, you show it first. Whatever thing that you want your family to do, you show it first. Teach them by being, not by tell. So what does that mean? Give me an example. When you have your security training, be the first one to complete that training. Be the first one who do the software updates. Be the first one to clean up your apps or remove what is unnecessary in your clutter, in your environment. Keep it clean. People want to imitate what you do, not to do what you tell them to do. When you are that role model, everything can change. Being centered, practice that. Let people go to you and ask you, what's different with you? What's going on? What are you eating? I want that. Right? So, doing just a quick recap. We're not going to do a recap yet. I have another surprise for you. Now that we know that what is mindfulness and what is, and how can you apply it? Are you ready for another experience? Yes, I mean, yes. Fantastic. Okay. In this experience, I want you to take your cell phones. Everyone, please have your phones out. And you in the chat, take your, have your phone. If you're connected to the session using your phone, you can just, have it, but don't do, when you have your phone out, I want you to open the camera, and I want you to open video mode facing you. So for those of you connected, obviously, you can record, but you don't have to record. You cannot record it because you'll be disconnected, but you can do the exercise. So have your phones facing you, okay? Now, be intentional. This is an example where you can be intentional. And what you're gonna do is, for 30 seconds, you're gonna tell yourself, why is that phone important to you? Why are you grateful? Why you appreciate it? Because it allows you to connect to your family. It allows you to go places. It allows you to hear the voices of your loved ones. It allows you to work remotely. I mean, there are so many things. I know this might not be, but just trust me and do it with me. Just have your phone facing you. And when I say go, just go and intentionally tell it like you mean it. 1, 2, 3, go. Five seconds. Okay. Stop. Okay. When you play the record, I want you to soak into those feelings of appreciation, into those feelings of self-centering. Because you know that your technology is ever present, it's never distracted. Technology is always there for you. So you can use it to infuse positive messages to yourself, to your communities, to your family. Now, Will everyone jump right into cyber mindfulness? You will have retractors and expanders. Now, regardless of if you are in the, oh my God, this is so weird, this is hard, people think I'm crazy. I have no time, I'm busy, I don't know how to do it. Or if you are finding expanders, saying, oh my God, I love this. This is awesome. I love empowering others. Empowering is amazing. Mindfulness is a key differentiator. Companies and governments are already in. I invite you to Google cyber mindful or cyber mindfulness, check it out. There is a human-centric trend right now. Now, doesn't matter where we are in this, because there is one thing that is undeniable. One thing. And that is cybercrime is on the rise. No matter what, we know that cyber monsters, how I call them, and social engineers are looking every single day to prey on our users' emotions, on our people emotions. So why don't we give them an option where they can center themselves, where they can find a different way to see cybersecurity? Because this could be the difference between clicking blindly or cyber mindfully, click wisely. Now, let's just do a quick recap. We saw the 3 principles for cyber mindfulness. Number 1, be intentionally cyber. Be purposeful in your messaging. When you create content, be in alignment with that intentionality. Have your content that evokes an emotion, like in the same way the cyber monsters evoke emotions. Why don't we make our content evoke a positive emotion that contrasts that? Number 2, be empowering. Make easy, relatable, and personal in trainings. Have something that people cannot wait to go home and share it. Oh my God, I can share it with my friends. I can share it with my family. I can share it with my neighbor. Make it empowering, inspiring. Because when people can teach somebody else, coach somebody else, there is something that brings life into that person, because now that person feels, I am important. I know how to do this. I am confident. I'm helping someone, maybe not to click in that link. So be empowering. And lastly, be a role model. Be the first at work, at home, and practice centering over and over. Be cyber mindful until you become one. How ready are you to incorporate cyber mindfulness into your programs? Because you are the decision makers. You are the ones that can make a choice, whether for your own programs, whether it's for your organization, or whether it's in your personal life. How ready are you to let your teams to be purposeful, empowering, and role models, so that we have a chance against hackers, scammers, and cyber monsters, and protect what matters most, whatever that is? Because this isn't just about protecting digital assets. It's so much more than that. It's being in a community, it's being in a center, present, harmonious environment. That is what this is about. Now, I'm super, super grateful to SAN Institute, to Lance, to the advisory boards, to every single speaker today that gave us amazing information. To each of you sitting in these chairs that do an amazing job every single day. To all of you that are watching us on this Slack channel. To everyone that is gonna see this recording over and over. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Because what you do makes a difference. And we can take one cyber mindful step at a time. So thank you.